Good morning. Jen Shakti here, and this morning I got up early to go on an urban shaman's adventure to the Cave of Munits in West Hills. So I've never been to this place before, and I started out in the dark. I got up at 4:30 to leave by 5 because I just didn't want to have to deal with any of that rush hour traffic. And I'm getting the beautiful gift of a sunrise already. So I had a couple of, I wouldn't say false starts, but a little bit of the adventure was GPS took me to a different trailhead off Las Virgenes Canyon Road. Then I went to the Victory trailhead to access the Las Virgenes Open Area Preserve. But then the Cave of Munits is actually on Yelp, which is amazing, and we're not very far off of this little neighborhood in West Hills. So at this point, I'm just walking and exploring this beautiful hillside. Let's look at the sunset behind me, sunrise. And lots of evidence of fire coming through here, but with all the recent rain, it's so beautifully green. So let's keep going to find Munits' cave. Despacho is a prayer bundle offering. It's a South American Andean tradition, and despachos are made for a multitude of different reasons, but the most basic is called an Aini despacho, and the word in the Quechua language, Aini, means harmony. So making an Aini despacho is a way to bring harmony to your life, to the life of your friends and family, your community. So when I make a despacho, I make it ahead of time, and it's filled with prayers and intention, and that is an entire ceremony in itself. So traditional ingredients include quintus, which is 3 coca leaves blown with prayers and placed in the bundle, and many flowers, sweets, sugars, and candies and chocolates. And there are symbolic reasons that you put all of these things in, but it's really about the sweetness of life. And then you have things like grains and beans and little figurines. And the list is quite long. And it takes you in prayers all the way from, the littlest creature and all the way to us human two-leggeds. And so that spectrum, it's just beautiful. It looks like a little package. So for me here in Southern California, I honor the traditions and I study the traditions, but I'm very much a shamanic practitioner who just I use my creativity and I just do what feels good. So to me, I like to make despachos that are very ecologically friendly. I like to think that everything in it will decompose, and if a little critter got into it and ate something out of it, it wasn't going to harm them. So I don't use bright colored papers, and I don't use things that would be left behind. So traditional ways of giving a despacho is to burn a despacho, or to bury a despacho, or to put it into a body of water. So the buried despachos are like a slow release, bringing my prayers into the land, but it's a way that I find to bring myself into Aini with the earth and the land. So this despacho that I made just was like a chapter of that time in my life when it was made, and many prayers for everyone I could think of went into it. It maybe takes me about an hour to do my own personal despacho, but maybe you're lucky enough to live in a community where there's shamans who are doing a group despacho, which there could be, 20 people sitting around in a circle putting their prayers into that despacho. So I hope that brings a little awareness to you about the process. So right here on the trail leading up to the Cave of Munits, I found a mano, an ancient tool, just sitting right here on the ground. And you can see how one side is flat, and when I hold this in my hand, it's a perfect fit. And so ancient hands touched this. And so it's just been a magnificent adventure. I met a new friend here, my cameraman Richard, and we've just been having the most wonderful conversations. So thank you to the Spirit of Munits for bringing us safely to and from this place. So I'm gonna just leave this for the next explorer with eyes to see right where we found it. Munits is a historic figure. He was a shaman of the Chumash nation. So the Chumash people covered the area of Southern California from like Malibu and Ventura all the way up to like Morro Bay and Paso Robles area. And it's very interesting that the story of Munits was told in this culture for thousands of years. So we don't know when this person existed. But the story goes that this shaman was killed by the chief of the tribe for killing the chief's son. So if we think historically about what is the job of a shaman, often they were the leaders of the rites of passage ceremonies. And in some of these cultures, that would include going on a vision quest. And the shaman would give the person getting the initiation, giving them a substance to drink, and it would put them into a psychotropic state, and they would hallucinate, and they would have a vision, and that would give them power, and that would be possibly a spirit guide that would help that young person for the rest of their lives. So this is conjecture, but maybe that story is that quite possibly the shaman accidentally killed this young man, and possibly he overdosed on whatever was given. The plant datura, also known as Jimson weed, is a plant that grows abundantly all over Southern California, and some of the native informants talked about that was something that the shamans used to go into their psychedelic trances. Datura is highly poisonous, and so one mistake in the preparation could have proved fatal. So that was an account I read that really seemed to put the story into context. Definitely a cautionary tale, and I sure wouldn't mess around with that plant. But it was interesting to me that as I climbed up to the cave, there was a datura plant growing out of the crack in the way you climb up to the cave. So inside the cave, it was magnificent and quite large. And I just imagined there being numerous people, young initiates, there with the shaman tending to them. There was a room in the back, and there were kind of different levels, and just so surprising that except for some garbage, that cave was just in beautiful condition and not vandalized. So we're just very, very grateful for that.